The blue glow of her computer screen illuminated Amelia Davenport's exhausted face as she stared at the final numbers on her spreadsheet. 1 o'clock in the morning, and Boston slept outside her apartment windows while she put the finishing touches on a $15 million acquisition deal. Her eyes burned from hours of staring at financial projections, but satisfaction warmed her chest as she added her electronic signature to the document. "And done," she whispered to no one, stretching her arms overhead until her spine cracked. Her empty apartment absorbed the sound. She closed the acquisition folder and allowed herself a small smile. The partners would be impressed tomorrow. Always were. Always expected it. Amelia Davenport, senior financial analyst, the one who made impossible deals happen while everyone else enjoyed their holidays. Thanksgiving. The word settled heavily in her mind. Her family had canceled their traditional Connecticut gathering 3 days ago. Grace, her mother, had called with that particular tone, half apology, half irritation, explaining that both she and Angelina had come down with terrible colds. "We're just miserable, darling," Grace had sighed dramatically. "And your father's feeling it coming on too. Best to postpone until Christmas. You understand, don't you? With your work schedule, I'm sure you're relieved." Before logging off, Amelia opened Instagram, scrolling mindlessly through her feed. A new post from Angelina appeared at the top, posted just 30 minutes ago. Amelia blinked, certain she was hallucinating from fatigue. Her sister's perfectly manicured hand held up a glass of Prosecco. The Colosseum blurred artfully in the background. The caption read, "Surprise Italian getaway. When life offers you Rome, you don't say no. Blessed. Family time. No regrets." Amelia's finger trembled as she swiped through the carousel of images. Angelina posing on the Spanish steps. Grace and Caspian, her parents, lifting wine glasses on a hotel terrace, the sunset gilding their faces with warm light. A 5-star hotel room with a view that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Too sick for Thanksgiving," Amelia whispered, her voice strange in the silence. A hollow laugh escaped her lips. In Connecticut. Her phone vibrated in her hand, the screen lighting up with an unfamiliar number. New Hampshire area code. Who would be calling from New Hampshire at 1 in the morning? Wrong number, probably. But after a moment's hesitation, she answered. "Miss Davenport? Amelia Davenport?" a formal male voice asked. "Speaking. This is Officer James Reynolds with the New Hampshire State Police." The man paused. "I regret to inform you that your vehicle has been involved in an accident." Amelia's stomach plummeted. "My vehicle? My Porsche?" "Yes, ma'am. A red Porsche 911, registered to you." The officer's voice was professionally detached. "It's been totaled." "Totaled?" The word came out as barely a whisper. Amelia gripped the edge of her desk, steadying herself. "That's not possible. My car is in my parents' garage in Connecticut." Silence stretched across the line. "Officer?" "Ma'am, the driver was arrested at the scene for driving under the influence and possession of a controlled substance. Blood alcohol 3 times the legal limit." Another pause. "She claims your sister, Angelina Davenport, gave her permission to use the vehicle." Amelia closed her eyes. Images flashed through her mind. Angelina asking to borrow the Porsche 2 weeks ago, those practiced puppy dog eyes. "Just for some influencer photos, Melia. Please? It'll look amazing on my feed. I promise it won't leave the garage otherwise." The trust, the $150,000 trust she had extended, yet again. "Miss Davenport? Are you still there?" "Yes," Amelia managed, her voice distant to her own ears. "Where is the car now?" "Impound lot in Portsmouth." He gave her an address, which she mechanically typed into her notes. "You'll need to file with your insurance. The officer on scene has prepared a preliminary report." Amelia thanked him, her voice sounding like it belonged to someone else. The call ended, and she sat motionless, staring at her phone. After several minutes, she pulled up her family group chat and typed, "My Porsche has been totaled in New Hampshire. Someone Angelina gave the keys to was arrested for DUI. Police just called." "Someone explain." She called her sister. Straight to voicemail. She called her mother. Voicemail. Her father. Voicemail. 10 minutes later, her phone pinged. A text from her mother. "Amelia, my goodness. Must you ruin the entire trip over this? It's just an accident. Why are you making things difficult for Angelina's friend?" Amelia stared at the text, reading it 3 times. She set her phone down carefully, as if it might explode. Her hands were trembling, but something else was forming beneath the shock. Something hard and cold and certain. She stood, moving to her closet with deliberate steps. She pulled out an overnight bag and began methodically packing essentials: a change of clothes, toiletries, phone charger. Her movements were precise, almost robotic. For 35 years, Amelia had been the responsible one, the one who picked up pieces, who paid bills, who sorted problems, always there with checkbook open or credit card ready. Caspian's voice echoed in her memory. "You have plenty, Amelia. All you know is work. The least you can do is help your sister out occasionally." Occasionally. The word almost made her laugh. She'd paid $12,500 for Angelina's Soho credit card debt, $60,000 for 2 years of her sister's apartment rent, $48,000 for 5 years of her mother's country club fees. The numbers flashed in her head like a financial report of familial obligation. Her phone pinged again. 3 more texts from her mother, increasingly demanding. Amelia didn't look at them. For the first time in her life, she simply let her mother's demands go unanswered. Instead, she dialed another number. "You've reached Marcus Thorne. Leave a message." "Marcus, it's Amelia Davenport." Her voice was steadier now, cooler. "There's been an incident. I need legal advice about a car accident in New Hampshire. I'll be driving there now. Call me when you can." She ended the call, zipped her overnight bag, and picked up her car keys, her everyday Toyota, not the Porsche that now lay mangled in some impound lot. Before leaving, she glanced one last time at her laptop screen. She'd minimized the acquisition deal and left Instagram open. The Rome photos seemed to mock her, bright and festive. Family raising glasses without her, as always. She closed the laptop with a soft click. They'd never seen her as Amelia, only as the family ATM. But tonight, their credit line had just been permanently closed. The impound lot's security lights cast harsh shadows across the mangled remains of what was once Amelia's Porsche. I stand motionless in the pre-dawn chill, my breath forming small clouds as I take in the destruction. The once sleek red hood is crumpled like discarded gift wrap. The driver's side door hangs at an impossible angle. Shattered glass glitters across the concrete like cruel diamonds. "You the owner?" A heavy-set officer approaches, clipboard in hand, his boots crunching on tiny fragments of my $150,000 investment. "Yes." My voice sounds hollow even to me. "Amelia Davenport." He nods, flipping through papers. "Got the police report here. Driver was one Tiffany Winters, blood alcohol level .24. 3 times the legal limit," I murmur, remembering the officer's words from last night. "Yep, lucky she's alive." He shifts his weight. "She was pretty adamant about how she got the car. Stated multiple times that Angelina Davenport, that's your sister, gave her the keys directly. Said they were at some party together." My stomach tightens. This wasn't just Angelina letting someone take photos with my car. This was willful handover of keys to someone clearly intoxicated. "As the registered owner, you could have been liable for damages," he continues, watching my face. "Good thing you cooperated right away. Makes the negligent entrustment case cleaner." The words hit me with unexpected force. Negligent entrustment. Liable for damages. Had my sister bothered to consider any of this when handing over my keys? Had my mother, when dismissing the accident as an inconvenience to their Roman holiday? I sign the forms he presents, accept copies, and walk numbly back to my Toyota. The sky has begun to lighten imperceptibly in the east as I drive back to Boston. By the time I pull into my garage, exhaustion drags at every muscle, yet sleep feels impossible. In my apartment, I brew coffee strong enough to strip paint and open my laptop. The family trip photos still mock me from Instagram, but I ignore them. Instead, I navigate to a folder labeled Family Support Fund. The Excel spreadsheet inside has tracked every dollar I've given my family over the past 5 years. The numbers stare back at me, cold and unambiguous. $12,500 for Angelina's Soho credit card debt, $60,000 for 2 years of her apartment rent, $48,000 for 5 years of Grace's country club fees. The total at the bottom, $120,500. Not including the occasional small loans that were never repaid, the birthday gifts that grew more extravagant each year, the vacations I funded but rarely joined. My mother and sister have always been the architects of our family dynamic. Grace, with her obsession with appearances, pulling strings from behind carefully manicured hands. Angelina, perpetually entitled, the favored daughter who transformed my generosity into obligation, but the spreadsheet is just the beginning. My MacBook syncs automatically with my iMessage account, and something catches my eye. Messages from an account I don't recognize appearing in my chat list. Then I remember the iPad I bought for my mother 2 years ago. "So we can FaceTime more often," I'd told her. We used it exactly 3 times before she complained the screen was too small. But apparently, it's still logged into my Apple ID. I click on the conversation thread between Grace and Angelina. The most recent exchange makes my coffee turn bitter in my mouth. "Grace, don't worry about Amelia, just use that money and go to Rome. She has plenty, all she knows is work." Angelina, "But she'll see the posts. You know how she checks Instagram late at night." Grace, "By the time she sees them, we'll be having too much fun to care. Tell her we're sick. She never questions anything." Angelina, "What about the car? I promised Tiffany she could borrow it." Grace, "Amelia's too busy to notice. She'll be working on that acquisition all weekend. Just be discreet." Angelina, "You're the best, Mom. Rome, here we come." The timestamps show the conversation happened 3 days ago, hours before my mother called with her terrible cold story. The sky outside my window brightens to full dawn as I stare at the messages. Something shifts inside me. The shock that kept me moving through the night gives way to something colder, more precise. This isn't family dysfunction, this is arithmetic. I've been paying to be excluded from my own family, I say to the empty room. The words hang in the air, undeniable once spoken aloud. I've shed enough tears over these people. Now it's time for consequences. My phone buzzes at 8 a.m. precisely. Marcus Thorne, returning my call from last night. "Amelia? Got your message. What's happened?" His voice is alert despite the early hour. I lay out everything, the accident, the Rome trip, the messages, the financial support history with clinical detachment. Jesus. Marcus breathes when I finish. "This is willful destruction of property and negligent entrustment. Your cooperation with the police was the right move to shield yourself from liability." "What do I do now?" I ask, hearing the new edge in my own voice. "First, freeze any connected financial accounts. Then we document everything. The messages, the spreadsheet, the police report. There's a pause. I think we need to prepare what I'd call an email bomb. Full evidence package, notice of termination of financial support, my law firm letterhead for gravitas." "When? When would hurt the most?" he asks, understanding immediately what I'm after. 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. I reply without hesitation. "When they'll be sitting down to dinner in Rome, expecting my credit cards to work." "Perfect." I can hear him typing notes. "I'll draft something while you gather the documentation. We'll send it together." I spend Thanksgiving Day alone in my apartment, working methodically with Marcus to prepare our response. This victory feels hollow. I'm losing the family I thought I had. But perhaps that family never truly existed. The next day, my phone rings at 7:42 a.m., the harsh electronic chirp slicing through my post-Thanksgiving solitude. Grace's name flashes on the screen. I stare at it, momentarily hypnotized by the sight of my mother's name, the woman currently vacationing in Rome, while telling me she was too sick for our family holiday. "Amelia, what have you done?" Grace's voice strikes like a physical blow the moment I answer. The background noise tells me she's in a public place, voices echoing, announcements in Italian. "I'm not sure what you're referring to." My voice emerges cool and measured, surprising even me. "Don't play innocent. Our credit cards were just declined at Ristorante Abruzzi. We're sitting here, completely humiliated in front of the entire restaurant." The practiced tremor in her voice designed to trigger my automatic guilt response washes over me without effect. I glance at my laptop, open to my bank accounts. The termination notice Marcus helped prepare went out yesterday evening, precisely as scheduled. Every supplementary card, every automatic payment, all suspended. That's unfortunate, I say, taking a sip of my coffee. Unfortunate? That's all you have to say? Your father had to borrow euros from another American couple. Do you have any idea how mortifying that was? From somewhere in the background, I hear Angelina's voice rise. Is that her? Let me talk to her. A rustling sound. Then my sister's voice cuts through. raw with theatrical tears. Amelia, the hotel is threatening to lock us out of our room. My entire trip is ruined because of you. How could you do this to me? To us? I lean back in my chair, watching the morning light play across my apartment walls. The familiar weight of responsibility of fixing everyone else's problems hovers like a ghost, waiting to settle on my shoulders. But for the first time in years, I don't bend beneath it. The same way you could let your friend destroy my car after lying about being too sick for Thanksgiving. I reply, that was one small mistake. My father's voice suddenly joins the conversation. Caspian Davenport, silent enabler extraordinaire, finally breaking his diplomatic absence. You're punishing your mother for a misunderstanding, Amelia. This isn't like you. No, it isn't like me. The thought settles into my mind with unexpected clarity. It isn't like me to protect myself, to refuse to be their personal ATM, to value my own well-being above their comfort. It isn't like me at all. And perhaps that's been the problem all along. I end the call without another word. Yesterday was the first Thanksgiving I've spent alone. I expected it to feel hollow, a reminder of family bonds severed by betrayal and deception. Instead, as evening fell across Boston, something unexpected happened. I breathed. The silence in my apartment wasn't empty, it was peaceful. No demands, no calculated guilt trips. No veiled criticisms wrapped in concerned questions about my work hours or relationship status. I order breakfast from the small French bakery down the street, a luxury I normally reserve for special occasions. As I wait for delivery, I open my laptop and study the Excel spreadsheet that Marcus titled Financial Liberation Calculation. The numbers are stark in their simplicity. $12,500 for Angelina's Soho credit card debt. $60,000 for her apartment rent. $48,000 for Grace's country club fees. Money that could have funded my own dreams. Money that bought me nothing but the right to be exploited. The realization lands with surprising force. I've been buying the illusion of family and paying retail prices for wholesale affection. My phone vibrates with a video call request. Grace again. This time, the preview shows her in what appears to be an airport terminal. I hesitate, then accept. Amelia, you need to fix this right now. Her voice is tight, controlled. We're stranded in a foreign country. Is that what you wanted? To abandon your family thousands of miles from home? Behind her, I glimpse Angelina pacing, gesturing dramatically as she talks to someone off-screen. My sister notices the call and rushes over, her face appearing beside Grace's. You've completely ruined everything, Angelina shouts, mascara streaking her cheeks. How am I supposed to pay the hotel? The shopping? My life is falling apart because of you. I study their faces, the practiced distress, the expectation that I'll crumble and make everything right. The pattern is so familiar I could script their next lines. That's no longer my concern, I say quietly. My lawyer has all the details. Grace's expression freezes. Your lawyer? What are you talking about? The account termination notice was quite clear, Mother. The funds you've been accustomed to accessing are no longer available to you. But what about our hotel bill? Grace's voice rises an octave. The shopping? How are we supposed to get home? That's no longer my problem. The words feel like keys unlocking a door I never knew existed. I end the call before they can respond. 10 minutes later, my phone rings again. Marcus. The New Hampshire police are proceeding with charges, he tells me without preamble. They're summoning Angelina for questioning regarding negligent entrustment of your vehicle. What does that mean exactly? I ask, making notes. It means the insurance company isn't accepting. My sister let me borrow it as a valid defense. Your sister gave unauthorized access to someone she knew was intoxicated. They're taking a hard line. I nod, even though he can't see me. Amelia. Marcus's voice turns cautious. I should warn you, this is the point where your family will likely try to deflect blame onto you. We've documented everything. You're insulated, but prepare yourself for some ugly accusations. I understand. And strangely, I do. The pattern is so predictable now that I can see it clearly. The moment consequences appear, I'll become the villain in their narrative. An email notification pops up on my screen, from Caspian Davenport. Subject, a father's thoughts. I open it, scanning the contents with analytical detachment. Amelia. For the first time, I'm writing to you separately from your mother. Perhaps we've taken your generosity for granted over the years. Your sister made a terrible error in judgment with your car, but isn't family about forgiveness? Can we discuss this reasonably? As adults? Dad? Too little, too late. The realization doesn't bring pain, just clarity. I forward the email to Marcus with a brief note. Please handle any response to this according to our agreed strategy. I spend the afternoon preparing documentation for the extended family. Screenshots of Rome vacation photos alongside 2 sick text messages. The police report, insurance claim documents. Email threads showing repeated patterns of financial requests. The timeline takes shape with clinical precision. 5 years of deception, carefully documented and organized. I download a call recording app to my phone, insurance against future conversations. As evening falls, my phone buzzes with a text from Grace. If you continue with this vindictive behavior, I'll have no choice but to tell the entire extended family about your breakdown. Is that what you want? Everyone knowing you've had some kind of mental episode? Before I can respond, another notification appears. Instagram. Angelina has posted a story. I open it to find a filtered selfie, her expression carefully composed into wounded innocence. The caption reads, "So hurt right now by toxic family members who only care about money." My phone buzzes again. An unknown number. "Amelia, this is Aunt Patricia. Your mother is worried sick. What is going on? You need to call her." I set the phone down without responding and look around my quiet apartment. For the first time in years, I feel something unexpected. I feel free. On Monday morning, Marcus Thorne's office gleamed with polished mahogany and leather-bound law books, the kind of understated wealth that whispered rather than shouted. I arranged the printed screenshots of my family's betrayal across his desk, each image a brick in the wall I'm building between myself and them. The evidence is overwhelming. I say, tapping a manicured nail against the photo of Angelina, Grace, and Caspian, raising their glasses in Rome. But now I have aunts and uncles texting me. Apparently my mother has been busy. Marcus leans back in his chair, his salt and pepper hair catching the afternoon light. Your extended family isn't legally entitled to explanations, Amelia. We need to be strategic, not emotional. I study the message from Aunt Patricia. What's gotten into you, Amelia? Your mother says you're having some sort of breakdown. My jaw tightens. They're harassing me now. I want them to face what they've done. Extending the email bomb might escalate things, Marcus warns. He straightens his tie, a small, controlled gesture that reminds me why I hired him. He thinks before he acts. I understand the risks. I tell him, my voice steady despite the anger churning in my stomach. But I won't let them rewrite history. Not with my aunts and uncles. Not with anyone. Marcus nods, his expression shifting from caution to resolve. Then let's make it airtight. We'll draft a formal notification for the extended family. Include the timeline, the financial records, everything. I open my laptop and pull up the spreadsheet detailing 5 years of financial support, $120,500 in total. I want them to see exactly what I've paid for. The numbers tell a story more damning than any accusation. We work through the afternoon, crafting an email that's both professional and devastating in its completeness. No accusations, just facts, dates, amounts, screenshots. The email bomb too. This should prevent any further harassment from your extended family, Marcus says as I press send. Should, I repeat, unconvinced. I've underestimated my mother's ability to manipulate for decades. Why stop now? I'm right not to be optimistic. 2 days later, my cousin James calls. Amelia, there was a family conference call last night, he begins, hesitation in his voice. Your mother organized it. Let me guess I wasn't invited, I say, watching Boston's skyline through my apartment window. The city feels solid, predictable, unlike my blood relatives. She says you're having some kind of mental health crisis. James continues, clearly uncomfortable. That you've always resented Angelina's lifestyle and beauty. That you're using money to control everyone. I close my eyes, feeling the familiar weight of my mother's manipulation. Did she mention the $150,000 car her golden child let a drunk friend destroy? Or the fact they were all in Rome after claiming to be too sick for Thanksgiving? Silence stretches between us. She edited those parts out. James finally admits, I'm not surprised. My voice is calm now, the calm that comes after accepting what you're up against. Did anyone question her version? Not really. You know how Grace is. Very convincing. After we hang up, I open Instagram. Angelina has been busy. Her latest story shows her with carefully applied makeup that emphasizes her red-rimmed eyes. The caption reads, "When toxic family members show their true colors." I scroll through the comments. Relatives and friends offering sympathy, promising support. Several have contributed to what appears to be an impromptu fundraiser. Struggling after family abandonment. Any help appreciated. The calculated public shaming makes my blood boil. Not a single mention of the crashed car or the Rome trip. Just Angelina, the victim, abandoned by her cruel sister. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. "Call me immediately. Someone contacted your workplace." I dial him, my heart racing. "Your sister has been sending direct messages to your colleagues," Marcus says without preamble, "suggesting they perform a wellness check on you, implying you're unstable." "That's defamation," I say, professional instincts kicking in despite the personal betrayal. "Exactly. I've intercepted them and sent a cease and desist." His voice hardens. "I've also contacted your bank. There have been unauthorized access attempts to your accounts." "My mother," I say immediately. "She had my passwords years ago, for emergencies." "The bank is documenting everything," Marcus assures me. "And the insurance investigator's report explicitly supports your version of events. Your sister gave unauthorized access to your vehicle." I sink into my sofa, suddenly exhausted. They're not going to stop, are they? "No," Marcus says simply. "But neither are we. I've sent a formal letter to the extended family. This is a legal matter now, not a family spat." Later that evening, my email pings with a message from the New Hampshire prosecutor's office. Subject line, Re. Davenport vehicle incident. Miss Angelina Davenport has been contacted regarding potential charges of negligent entrustment. The friend's statement confirms Miss A. Davenport knowingly provided keys to an intoxicated individual. I forward it to Marcus with 2 words. "It's working." His reply is immediate. "Your father called. They've called an emergency family meeting. You weren't invited." I actually laugh at the absurdity. They're still trying to solve this without me, as if I'm an inconvenient detail rather than the central figure in their financial universe. The next morning brings signs that their carefully constructed world is crumbling. An email from Angelina's apartment management company mistakenly copied to me. Final notice. Eviction proceedings due to non-payment. A voicemail from the Willow Creek Country Club manager for my mother. "Mrs. Davenport, your membership has been suspended pending payment of outstanding fees." And finally, an email from my father sent from his personal account, not the family group chat. "Amelia, I believe we need to talk. Just you and me. Your mother doesn't know I'm contacting you. Caspian." I forward it to Marcus without replying. 10 minutes later, my mother's name appears on my phone screen. I decline the call, but her voicemail is immediate and furious. "How dare you turn your father against me?" Grace's voice trembles with rage. "Angelina is devastated. We're your family, Amelia. You can't just cut us off when we need you most." I save the voicemail as evidence and text Marcus. The facade is cracking. His response comes quickly. "Family systems destabilize when enablers start questioning. Hold your position." I stare at my father's email again. For the first time in my life, he's reached out independently, without my mother orchestrating the interaction. It's too little, too late, but it confirms what I already knew. Without my financial support, my sister's influencer lifestyle is impossible to maintain. My mother's social standing is crumbling. My father is finally questioning the family dynamic. I close my laptop and look at the spreadsheet one last time. $120,000. $500 over 5 years. The price of being the family ATM. Not anymore. The family intervention email arrived on a Tuesday morning while I was reviewing quarterly projections. 8 signatures at the bottom. Aunts, uncles, cousins, I barely spoke with, all urging reconciliation in carefully coordinated language. "Blood ties are permanent, Amelia," the email insisted. "One unfortunate mistake shouldn't erase a lifetime of family bonds." I snorted, scrolling through their transparent manipulation. The email suggested family therapy with me covering everyone's costs. Naturally, references to my parents' advancing age and potential lifetime regrets, peppered the text. Buried among the manipulative platitudes was a separate note from my father. Amelia, I recognize we've taken advantage. Perhaps we could speak. Just the two of us? Too little, too late. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Check your email. Something from Hannigan and Associates just arrived. I switched screens to find an official legal letterhead from my mother's country club friend, now apparently the family attorney. The threatening tone was immediate. Our firm has been retained to address the emotional distress damages suffered by the Davenport family due to your vindictive actions. I scanned the document, my jaw tightening. Claims that I had intentionally damaged family relationships, suggestions that my personal vendetta could harm my professional reputation. A pointed reminder that Angelina now faced criminal charges, which they framed as entirely my fault for needlessly escalating a minor misunderstanding. The letter concluded with a particularly manipulative flourish, an invitation to the extended family Christmas gathering in Connecticut, with clear strings attached. Attend and reconcile, or be permanently excluded from the family. The implication hung heavy. This was my last chance to be welcomed back into the fold. My finger hovered over Marcus's number. A familiar wave of doubt crashed over me, the old pattern of guilt resurfacing. What if they were right? What if I was overreacting? The threat to my professional reputation sent a cold shiver down my spine. Should I just pay them off to make this go away? I asked, when Marcus answered, my voice smaller than I wanted it to be. Amelia, Marcus's tone was firm, grounding. This is exactly what they want to make you doubt yourself. This is their last gasp. Remember the messages you found? The Rome trip while they claim to be sick? Your totaled car? This is desperation, not sincerity. Don't flinch now. I squared my shoulders, staring at the family Christmas photo hanging on my wall, the last one where I'd allowed myself to be included. You're right. This ends now, completely. The hearing is tomorrow, Marcus reminded me. Everything is ready. The next day, the county courthouse loomed gray and imposing against the winter sky as I climbed the steps the following morning. My charcoal suit was armor, my leather portfolio a shield containing every document I needed to sever these toxic ties permanently. Inside courtroom 3, I spotted them immediately. Grace and Angelina sat together on a bench, both wearing expressions of injured dignity. Grace had chosen a pale blue cardigan that made her look fragile and grandmotherly. Angelina's normally perfect makeup couldn't quite hide her puffy eyes and pallor. All rise, the bailiff announced as Judge Samuel Woodruff entered. His expression was neutral as he reviewed the petition for the restraining order. We're here regarding case number 4872, Davenport versus Davenport, he stated, glancing over his reading glasses at each of us. Let's begin with the petitioner. I approached the witness stand, took the oath, and waited for Marcus to begin questioning. Miss Davenport, please explain to the court why you're seeking this restraining order. With steady hands, I opened my portfolio. Your Honor, I've documented a pattern of financial exploitation and harassment by my family members spanning 5 years, culminating in the destruction of my vehicle and subsequent threats. I presented the spreadsheet detailing every penny of the $120,500 I had provided to my family. The judge's eyebrows rose slightly as he reviewed the figures. And this incident with your vehicle? He prompted. My sister Angelina borrowed my Porsche 911, valued at $150,000, claiming it would remain safely in my parents' garage. Instead, while the family was secretly vacationing in Rome after telling me they were too sick for our Thanksgiving gathering, she gave the keys to an intoxicated friend who totaled the vehicle. I submitted the police report and insurance claim. Then came the most damning evidence. The iMessage screenshots recovered from my mother's iPad. These messages show my mother and sister explicitly discussing their plans to deceive me about their travel plans and their intention to use my vehicle without permission while I was, in their words, too busy working to notice. Judge Woodruff's expression darkened as he reviewed the messages. He turned to Angelina. Young lady, am I understanding correctly that you gave someone you knew was drinking the keys to your sister's 6-figure automobile? Before Angelina could respond, Grace burst out. She's lying. She's always been jealous of Angelina's beauty and popularity. Silence, the bailiff warned. Mrs. Davenport, you'll have your turn to speak, the judge admonished, then returned his attention to Angelina. who fidgeted uncomfortably. It wasn't like that, Angelina mumbled. Tiffany only had a couple drinks. How was I supposed to know she'd wreck it? The judge's face hardened. He spent several minutes reviewing the complete evidence package before looking up. In my 15 years on the bench, I've rarely seen such a stunning pattern of financial exploitation and harassment, he stated flatly. This court grants the 5-year restraining order against Angelina Davenport. Additionally, I'm issuing a stern warning to Grace and Caspian Davenport regarding harassment. The cease and desist letter is hereby validated by this court. Grace made a choked sound. Angelina began to cry. Miss Angelina Davenport, you'll serve 1 year of probation for your role in this incident. Consider yourself fortunate the charges weren't more severe. As we left the courtroom, Marcus squeezed my shoulder. Perfect execution, Amelia. It's over. 2 weeks later, I received the insurance settlement for the Porsche, $35,000 for the salvage value of the wreckage. The check felt lighter than it should have as I drove to the Beacon Hill Women's Shelter. The director met me at the entrance, her eyes widening as I explained my donation. This is extraordinarily generous, she said, accepting the check. It's the right thing, I replied, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. Later that evening, I posted a single photo to my Instagram, the donation check with the shelter's logo visible. In the memo line, I'd written, "Sold the wreckage, bought my freedom." The final piece arrived from Italy a month later, a crystal leaning Tower of Pisa paperweight I'd ordered online. I wrapped it carefully with a note inside. Congratulations on your trip. This is the last thing you will ever receive from me. I addressed the package to my parents' Connecticut home and dropped it at the post office without hesitation. As the postal worker placed it on the outgoing mail cart, I watched my former life roll away, my shoulders finally free of its weight. A year later, I arranged the last carefully wrapped gift on my coffee table, a journal with a soft leather cover for Meredith, the young woman at the shelter, who reminds me so much of myself 6 months ago. My new apartment feels right-sized now, a studio with character in a brownstone off Commonwealth Avenue rather than the cavernous luxury high-rise that echoed with emptiness. Perfect, I whisper, surveying the stack of thoughtful presents for the women at Beacon Hill. Nothing extravagant, nothing that screams price tag. Just useful things chosen with care, warm scarves, journals, gift cards for coffee shops. My phone hasn't buzzed with a family emergency in months. The silence used to feel like abandonment. Now it feels like freedom. I glance at my reflection in the window. Outside, Boston glitters with Christmas Eve lights, snow falling in gentle drifts. Inside, I'm wrapped in a simple cashmere sweater, hair loose around my shoulders. The tension lines around my eyes have softened. The woman staring back looks unburdened. Unlike in the past when I was calculating which branch of the family tree might ambush me with financial requests, rehearsing polite refusals that never made it past my lips, tonight I am looking forward to the shelter's holiday dinner. Anticipation rather than dread. The difference staggers me. I pick up my journal from the side table, the practice my therapist suggested 6 months ago. I flip to the entry from yesterday. December 23. Dr. Winters asked an interesting question today. When did I first realize my family had weaponized my provider role? Looking back, I see it was there all along. The manipulative praise when I paid for something, the cold shoulder when I hesitated, the subtle way they'd say, "Well, you can afford it. All you do is work," as if my success was an insult to them, rather than an achievement they could celebrate. Setting boundaries no longer feels like a betrayal. It feels like breathing. I finally understand the difference between generosity and exploitation. One fills you up, the other drains you dry. I close the journal, feeling the truth of those words settle into my bones. My phone pings with a message from my firm, a notification about my recent promotion to senior financial analyst. I allow myself a moment of pride without the immediate calculation of how this raise might benefit everyone except me. These days, I fund causes I believe in from a place of choice, not obligation. The monthly donation to Beacon Hill Women's Shelter gives me more satisfaction than years of covering Angelina's rent ever did. The practical sedan parked outside represents more than transportation. It's a declaration that I choose substance over show, utility over impression. A knock at my door pulls me from my thoughts. Marcus and his husband David stand there, snowflakes melting in their hair, holding a chocolate cheesecake from my favorite bakery. First to arrive, as usual. Marcus says, embracing me. Can't shake those lawyer habits. Their genuine warmth fills my apartment as we set up for the small gathering. Soon Meredith arrives, then Lisa and Janelle from the shelter. The conversation flows without the undercurrent of calculation I grew accustomed to at family gatherings. When Meredith pulls me aside, her eyes swimming with tears as she describes her brother's latest demand for just a small loan, I recognize the guilt in her expression. Your generosity should be appreciated, not expected, I tell her quietly, the words I needed to hear months ago. Here are some resources that helped me. I hand her a card with my therapist's number, not fixing her problem, but offering support for her to fix it herself. Later, after the others have gone, I sit on my window seat watching the snow, feeling an unfamiliar contentment and solitude. The knock at my door surprises me. Mrs. Rodriguez, my elderly neighbor, stands in the hallway holding a foil-covered plate, steam rising from beneath. Tamales, she announces, her silver hair gleaming in the hallway light. No one should be alone on Christmas. Her smile holds no expectation, just genuine kindness. I invite her in, setting her plate on my small table by the window where Boston's lights compete with the stars. As we eat, she tells me stories of her own boundaries set decades ago, with her son who expected her to raise his children while he pursued his career. Family isn't always who you're born to, she says, her weathered hand covering mine. Sometimes it's who sees your worth beyond what you can provide. I feel a smile spread across my face, genuine and unguarded. For the first time in my life, I understand what family is supposed to feel like.